just give two quotations and they should be enough for a person of reason and rationality that this is what the cult is in reality. And why I'm going to show this, because their today's slogan is love for all and hatred for none. I beg to a common Ahmadi, look at these two quotations. They are not from anybody else. They are either from Mirza Sahib himself or from his son. Look at this, Adnan bhai. Okay, this first quotation is from Mazamine Bashir, which is a compilation of the articles of second son of Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, i.e. Mirza Bashir Ahmad M.A. And it is just a bit of taste for you. His writings are full of such substance. Okay. He says that अगर हजरत मसीह मऊद के विसाल के बाद अहमदिया सर्कल से कोई फर्द या जमात ये आवाज उठाए, it says that after the demise of Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, if anyone raises this voice, what voice? कि गैर अहमदियों से सुलह की जावे, that we should reconcile with the non-Ahmadis, we should be good to them. तो इसके लिए हम अपने आका के नक्शे कदम पर चलकर अला वजह बसीरत ये कह सकते हैं. He says that when such demand will be made, what demand? That we should be good to the common to the non-Ahmadis. He said that on such demand we are going to follow the footsteps of our master. Okay, and now he will explain that what are these footsteps. सबसे बड़ी शर्त ये हो कि गैर अहमदी अपने मसीह को मारकर खुदा के मसीह और महदी को माने. It says that our first demand is that Muslim nation must believe that Isa alayhi salam has died and now Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is the Messiah and the Mahdi.
This is a condition, not
yes,
a demand. It's a condition.
Exactly.
Shart is a condition. Condition of basically making relationships with non-Ahmadis. This is the first condition. In other words, basically accept the Ahmadi religion. Basically. Okay, continue. Yes.
जी भाई जज़ाकल्लाह. Thanks for a correction भाई. इसी के साया आतिफत के नीचे आ जावें. It says that people should come under the compassionate shadow of Mirza Ghulam Qadiani. फिर वो हमारे भाई होंगे. It says this is the only way they can be our brothers. My dear common people, regardless of you are Ahmadi or you are a non-Muslim in general, just look at their condition, and now they are saying love for all. And look what's coming next. It says अगर वो ये शर्त कबूल ना करें, it says if they do not agree with this condition, what condition? Believe that Isa alayhi salam has died and Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is the Messiah. If you don't believe this, जिस तरह हिंदुओं ने हमारी आवाज पे लब्बैक ना कहा, तो याद रखें. It says that then they will be treated just as Hindus are being treated. What does it mean? जंगल के दरिंदों और जहरीले सांपों से हमारी सुलह मुमकिन है, मगर इनके साथ मुमकिन नहीं. It says that if non-Ahmadis are not willing to accept the condition of believing in Mirza Ghulam Qadiani and becoming Ahmadi, then rest assured that we can be good to who? To the wild animals and to the poisonous snakes, but we cannot have any good relationships with non-Ahmadis. I want people just to just try to have some sense of the bitterness and the hatred they have against non-Ahmadis. And now I want people to read all of that in the context of love for all and hatred for none. Ji Adnan bhai.
Just a very quick comment, Imtiaz bhai. I want to summarize this quote. So just as Imtiaz bhai has clarified that today in the 21st century, in 2024, the slogan of the Qadiani Jamaat is love for all, hatred for none. That slogan contradicts directly the classical tradition authored by the founders of the Qadiani Jamaat. One of them, Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud, who is the God-appointed reformer of the Qadiani Jamaat. He's called Muslih Maw'ud. the promised reformer. So this person who is a son of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, the second caliph of the Qadiani Jamaat, is God appointed. Yes, Imtiaz bhai.
By this is Bashir Ahmad MA.
Sorry, Bashir Ahmad. I'm-
I know, I know, I know, I know.
I can't believe this. I always mix these two Bashirs up, always, without a fail. And I was having this discussion with Razi. I said it's going to happen in the future again. So they were picking on this. It's going to happen
Yeah,
again because
yeah.
I never managed to separate the two. I don't know. It's a hard work for me. So this is Bashir Mazameen Bashir, Bashir Ahmad, who is also Kamrul Anbiya. Let's go to him. He is Kamrul Anbiya, the moon of the prophets.
And
He
Adnan
is,
bhai,
yeah,
Jamaat,
yeah.
Jamaat's position is that if somebody wants to know that what is the status of someone after rejecting Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, then the best person to know is from Mirza Bashir Ahmad MA.
Kalimatul Fasl,
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Absolutely. So Bashir Ahmad is the moon of the prophets. He is again the son of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, writing the Qadiani policy in the classical literature. This contradicts directly the slogan, love for all, hatred for none. Because here in this quote, to summarize, he's saying non-Ahmadis, we can only have good terms with them, or we can make sulh, make basically relationships with them if they accept Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani as the Messiah, and if they accept that Jesus Christ, Isa alayhi salam, has died. So you first kill Isa alayhi salam and then resurrect Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani as the promised Messiah. Then we will accept you. Otherwise, you are like Hindus, and it is possible for us to have good terms with the beast of the jungle, okay, or venomous snakes, but not with you. Not with you. Hatred for none, love for all. Does that sound like it? Does that sound like it? So I want every Qadiani watching to note that this is your literature. These are your founders, founding fathers, more like, writing this. Where do you put this? Do you disown this? Was he mistaken? Was he wrong? Did he go against his father's policies? All these questions we will ask you when you come to talk to us, inshallah. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And sorry, let me just share again because I just want to give one more quote, then inshallah we enter into the topic. So now, yes, let me share my screen. I missed by mistaking. I yes. Okay, now, and Adnan bhai, I want people to give one more point here. There is no such thing as Pakistan at this stage. There is no such thing as 1974. This is 1915. Adnan by 1915. There's no such thing as Pakistan. There's no such thing that they have been declared as kuffar by the Muslim nations. People need to have this context as well. This is how they were behaving. This is what they were teaching and preaching. This was the level of hatredness. And again, there's no such thing as Pakistan. They haven't been declared as kuffar.
And why? Imtiaz Bhai, why is the question? Why are they behaving like this? Why was Muhammad Bashir MA writing like this? Why? Because they could never imagine that one day, within 30 years from writing this, the British will be gone.
Yeah,
India will not be ruled by Britain anymore. If they had any idea that colonialism will collapse, because by this time, by 1915, let's say the first year of the First World War, Britain was still very strong in India. The British Empire, the British colonial rule was still very strong. It was the Second World War that shook Britain. It was the Second World War that shook Britain. Okay, so they could not imagine that the British colonial rule will end in India, and one day these writings will come back to bite us. Right? That's why the narrative has shifted today. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Jazakallah bhai. And just by inshallah, just one more quotation from same Mirza Bashir Ahmad MA. from his mazameen. And again, I want people to please read all of that and watch all of that in the context of love for all and hatred for none. फिर एक और बात है, वो ये कि दुनिया में दो ही किस्म के ताल्लुकात होते हैं. मिर्जा बशीर अहमद में says that another point is there are two types of relationships in this dunya, in this world. दीनी और दुनियावी, either religious or otherwise. दीनी ताल्लुकात में सबसे बड़ा ताल्लुक इबादत का इकट्ठा होना है. It says that when it comes to religion, that one biggest relationship is to worship together. और दुनिया में रिश्तेदारी में बड़ा ताल्लुक समझा, और दुनिया में रिश्तेदारी सबसे बड़ा ताल्लुक समझा जाता है. And in terms of the secular or other worldly relationships, the biggest thing is connection or relationship between each other. And then he says, अब हम देखते हैं कि हजरत मसीह मऊद ने इन दोनों बड़े ताल्लुकात को जो अहमदी और गैर अहमदियों के दरमियान हो सकते हैं हमेशा के लिए कता कर दिया. It says that both of these two major relationships, either worshipping God together or having other relationship, it says Mirza Ghulam Qadiani has cut them off forever. Not the world. Mirza Ghulam Qadiani has cut them off forever. And then what it means? It explains himself. दीन में हुक्म दिया कि गैर अहमदी के पीछे नमाज बिल्कुल ना पढ़ो. In terms of deen, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani ordered his followers that do not pray behind non-Ahmadis. मर जाए तो जनाजा कोई नहीं. Please, Adnan bhai, note the word. मर जाए तो जनाजा कोई नहीं. It does not say जनाजा ना पढ़ो. It says मर जाए तो जनाजा कोई नहीं. My question to a common Ahmadi is, what it is implying here? What is the status of non-Ahmadis in this text? And it's not going to be our interpretation. It's coming in the next line anyways. Look at this one. It says that when non-Ahmadis died, there's no funeral, there's no procession of, or there's no praying for them. दुनिया के लिए so this was with regard to religion. Do not pray behind them. Do not make dua if they passed away. दुनिया के लिए फरमाया कि गैर अहमदी को लड़की ना देना. And in terms of worldly relationships, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani commanded to his followers that do not marry your daughters with non-Ahmadis. अब बहम ताल्लुक की कौन सी बात बाकी रह गई? It says after this, what else is there? Mirza Bashir Ahmad MA is asking in 1915 that if Mirza Ghulam Qadiani has given us this clear instruction, that cut yourself off from non-Ahmadis, and then he gave these two examples, and then he asked a rhetorical question, then what is left? And then it says, यही बातें हैं जिनसे नबियों के सरदार मोहम्मद मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने सहाबा को रोका. It says that these are the same instructions given by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his companions. वरना कुफार, प्लीज नोट द वर्ड एवरीवन, वरना कुफार के साथ लेन देन के मामलात और मामूली ताल्लुकात तो असहाब भी रखते थे. इट सेज अदरवाइज द रिलेशनशिप्स ऑफ ट्रेडिंग और अदर ट्रिवियल थिंग्स दे वर ऑलरेडी बिटवीन सहाबा i.e. the companion and the kuffar. And then it says ये एक बड़ा बारीक नुक्ता है जो गौर करने वालों के लिए काफी है. It says this is a very subtle point and every person of reflection, it is sufficient for him. Adnan bhai, I want you to explain this, what he is saying here.
If you want me to summarize very quickly what is the crux of this paragraph, the crux of this paragraph is that we have nothing in common with Ghair Ahmadis. Nothing. Okay? Neither deen, neither religion, nor dunya, nor anything to do with this world. So both types of relationships are completely cut off between the Ahmadis and the non-Ahmadis, in other words, the Muslims primarily. The Muslims who rejected Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Okay? There is no janaza for them and they are kuffar. because they are kuffar, because he is using the word kuffar to clarify his point that just as the Sahaba, the companions of Prophet Muhammad would abstain from these things when it comes to disbelievers, we will do the same with non-Ahmadis, i.e. the Muslims. 2 billion Muslims from Morocco to Indonesia. Okay, this was the narrative in 1915 when the Qadiani Jamaat could not imagine the British Empire collapsing in India because that was the protection they had. Their protection was the British colonial rule in India. And they were given this protection and they felt very safe and they were writing these things, these controversial, very hateful things. This is very hateful narrative. When the Qadianis accuse the Muslims of being hateful towards them, they really need to do some introspection. They need to look inside. They need to look inwardly and see, hold on a second, did Mirza write something like that? Or did Mirza's sons, Bashiruddin Mahmud or Bashir Ahmad, write something like that? That's it. All you need is three people. Three people. Mirza, Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, and his two sons, Bashiruddin Mahmud and Muhammad Bashir. That's it. Everything is there. Every single thing we are talking about is there. All the hatred, all the excommunication or breaking of ties and relationships, all the takfir is there. So here Mirza Bashir Ahmad is saying no janaza for non-Ahmadis, okay, no marriage with them, okay, just like the Sahaba did not do these things with the kuffar. So we are kuffar basically, yeah. Hatred for none, love for all, or love for all, hatred for none. Just keep that in mind when we're reading this stuff.
And Adnan bhai, maybe this is the reason why Mirza Ghulam Qadiani's Jamaat was telling us इनका इस्लाम और है और हमारा इस्लाम और.
He was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. We agree with him. Amazingly, celebrations. Let's throw some fireworks. Okay, I don't know, fireworks sometimes. Celebration. We agree for the first time with Mirza Ghulam Qadiani that our Islam is or, their Islam is or. There is not even Islam. It's a it's a sham. It's a fraud in the name of Islam. Okay, so that's what we're trying to highlight. Okay, every Qadiani, every Ahmadi, every African or Indian or Pakistani Qadiani watching this program, may Allah save you, may Allah guide you, may Allah protect you from this dajjal, from these lies, and from this fraud of a religion. And that's why we're doing this. Okay, look at the narrative today. Love for all, hatred for none, and look at the classical literature, how things started under the protection of the British colonial rule and how things changed suddenly after the British left India. And the British left India leaving behind Qadianis unprotected, at the mercy of the Indians and the Pakistanis.
And Adnan bhai, someone may be thinking, oh, these, as Ali Mirza, Adnan bhai, Ali Mirza sometimes says, oh, no, I want to see everything from Mirza Ghulam Qadiani. No problem. Let's back it up from Mirza Ghulam Qadiani as well. It says that ये जो हमने दूसरे मुद्दआयान इस्लाम से कता ताल्लुक किया है. It says that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani says, this is when I have cut ties with the other claimant of Islam, i.e. non-Ahmadis. अव्वल तो ये खुदा के हुक्म से था. He says that I have done this under the commandment of Allah. ना अपनी तरफ से, I did not do it on my own accord. दूसरे वो लोग रिया परस्ती और तरह तरह की खराबियों में हद से बढ़ गए थे. It says that I have done this. He says that the second reason is that I have done this cutting ties with the non-Ahmadis because they are crossing the limits. They have become transgressors. They are showing off. Riya. और इनको ऐसी हालत, and now next point is very important. इनको ऐसी हालत के साथ अपनी जमात के साथ मिलाना या इनसे ताल्लुक रखना. It says that when non-Ahmadis are in this state, despite all of that, if I was going to keep the non-Ahmadis with my Jamaat, with my community, it was as though उम्दा और ताज़ा दूध में बिगड़ा हुआ दूध डाल दें जो सड़ गया है, इसमें कीड़े पड़ गए हैं. अल्लाहु अकबर. It says that if I was going to let the non-Ahmadis to mix with the Ahmadis, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani says that the analogy or the similitude would be as though as I'm going to let the rotten milk mix with the fresh milk. Now, the deen of 2 billion Muslims is the rotten deen, and the deen Mirza Ghulam Qadiani was presenting is the fresh deen. Okay. इसी वजह से हमारी जमात किसी तरह इनसे ताल्लुक नहीं रख सकती. It says that for this reason, my community, i.e. the Ahmadiyya community, cannot have any relationships with the non-Ahmadis, और ना हमें ऐसे ताल्लुक की हाजत है, and neither do we need any such relationship. Now, this statement of Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is found in one of the official organ of the Jamaat, the Shizul Azhan, Jild number, i.e. the volume number 6, magazine number 8, page number 311, and it was August 1911. Now, before Adnan my comments on this one, I want to show you the actual scan as well. So don't think that we are just saying things. This is the actual scan as well if somebody wants to. Yeah, Adnan, if you want to comment on this statement.
It's self-explanatory. It's explaining itself that no relationships. Okay, ये जो हमने दूसरे मद्दायान इस्लाम से कता ताल्लुक
Muddiani. Basically, the word
मुद्दायान इस्लाम से कता ताल्लुक किया है. अव्वल तो ये खुदा ताला के हुक्म से था ना अपनी तरफ से. So Allah told Mirza to cut ties from the claimants to Islam. Which claimants? The Muslims. The Muslims from Morocco to Indonesia, 2 billion odd today. At that time when Mirza was talking, nearly a billion, or let's say 700-800 million Muslims around the world. Okay, at that time, over 100 years ago. So Mirza is saying all these people, God told me to cut ties with them. Okay, right? और दूसरे वो लोग रिया परस्ती और तरह तरह की खराबियों में हद से बढ़ गए हैं. So these people, they are basically diseased and they have many problems with them. They are guilty of showing off. Okay, और इनको इनकी ऐसी हालत के साथ अपनी जमात के साथ मिलाना या इनसे ताल्लुक रखना ऐसा है जैसा कि उम्दा और ताज़ा दूध में बिगड़ा हुआ दूध डाल दें जो सड़ गया है. So it's like mixing rotten milk with pure milk. Rotten milk with pure milk. इसमें कीड़े पड़ गए हैं. And basically rotten milk has insects in it. इसी वजह से हमारी जमात किसी तरह इनसे ताल्लुक नहीं रख सकती और ना हमें ऐसे ताल्लुक की हाजत है. Love for all, hatred for none. Keep that in mind. Love for all, hatred for none. Okay? These are the rights the Jamaat is claiming today in the world, that you accept this. You accept this hateful narrative against Muslims, against the Muslims, the entire Muslim Ummah. Okay? And then they played victim. They used the victim card that we were thrown out, we were excommunicated, we were called kuffar, we were called murtadeen, we were attacked. Look, again, we don't condone violence, we don't promote violence, we are not for violence, right? But reading this stuff, are you not yourselves provoking violence? Think about it. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani and his sons were the major reason why people became so angry with them. Why? Because of their writings. I'm not condoning what people are doing. I'm not condoning when people go violent and they start threatening. But this kind of narrative, does it help? Does it even help? Think about it. So this Qadiani victim card, enough is enough. Come on, guys. Look at the writings of your own so-called prophet and his sons. And this shows you that you have, the Jamaat has abandoned the narrative of the so-called prophet and the founding fathers of this cult. You have abandoned them. You have abandoned the narrative. Otherwise, you would be talking the same language today. No?
Exactly. And by the we want people, inshallah, just look, you don't need to agree with us. Use your own mind. This narrative, how would you reconcile between this narrative and the slogan of love for all, hatred for none? That is first question.
Yes.
Secondly, who are they asking for the rights? Who are they asking? If you are telling us that God has commanded Mirza Ghulam Qadiani to cut all sort of ties with the Muslim, then what right you want?
Exactly.